Hello everybody and welcome to the show where after usually the collision, but in this case, after the world ends, we sift through
the wreckage.
The wreckage, and it is a big sort of wreckage as a matter of fact, Vet, because the world ended apparently and there's all sorts of debris everywhere that we have to sift through. And
why should we? The world's ended. Who are we doing it for? If the world...
That's a good point. That's a good point. Apparently we're the only survivors, it seems, but that's all right, because then we're just going to go anyway. But we are live on Hamid's... sorry, Vet.
Oh, I was just going to say, us and the viewers here. Everyone listening and watching right now, we're the only survivors.
We are. And we are live on Hamid Media Group YouTube channel, as well as the Twitch, and on channelattitude.com after the fact. I am your host, Jimmy T. That is my co-host, the Vet, Jamie Williams. Vet, Merry Christmas, man. Merry Christmas to everyone once again. And did you have a good Christmas?
That's classified, Jimmy. My Christmas is classified. No one's allowed to know anything about it.
Oh, damn.
Just know that I'm here, and that's all that matters.
And that's all that does matter. Because that's right, it doesn't matter.
Mission not complete. Mission that's still ongoing.
Well, that's good because this is the final episode of The Wreckage for 2024. I can't believe we're going on to 2025, Vet. I mean, this year has blown by big time. And we're already going to, be in 2025. But no less, we're here to talk AEW wrestling. But before we do that, should we touch on some news, shall we say, Vet? I mean, is there really anything to talk about?
I don't know. You tell me. I just show up. I generally don't stay abreast of all the latest happenings because I like to react live. I think everybody prefers it that way.
I actually prefer it that way also. Even with myself, I'd rather react to it like as I read it. And so in saying that, though, Vet, let's get into the news. Well, now, I don't know if I should really touch on a particular thing from the World's End, but fuck it, I might as well because it is news. But we do have Kenny Omega coming back, as was kind of
that is not news. You shouldn't have even brought that up. Can we talk about anything real? Like if it's on the fucking pay-per-view, just talk about it then.
All right,
there's no
fine.
point. Kenny Omega's back. Enough. Didn't we say he was coming back? Like
we did.
That was already reported that he would come back, so it's not even news that he actually did what was reported.
Oh, fair enough. Well, if that's the case, we will keep it for the pay-per-view. But in other news, no one confirms Omos is competing for the GHC tag titles match at New Year's 2025 event. What do you think about Omos competing in Noah? And, is WWE just, sending him there to get a bit of, a bit of training, say, per se? Or they're just, buying time because they don't know what to do with him?
Maybe a little bit of both. I don't know what training he's going to do, but if he's going over there to compete for a tag team championship, I bet he's winning it. Actually, the cool thing about Japan is that's one of the places that just being the size of that guy will get you a pop. Like, I remember, you remember when... Great Khali was in Japan. He was called like Giant Singh, I want to say.
And I think it was, right.
He just walks out and the whole arena goes, oh, like just looking at him. You know what I mean? Like he didn't have to do anything. So that's pretty good. Also speaking of tag teams and Omos, when he was with AJ Styles, they debuted at WrestleMania against the New Day. And they squashed the New Day. And that was my favorite match on that whole WrestleMania. Because every other match was just everybody just doing a bunch of moves. It was kind of like an AEW pay-per-view, whatever. I don't remember what WrestleMania that is. Somebody, one of the statisticians in the chat, perhaps the professor, perhaps Zane Vicious can tell me. But like that was just my favorite match because it was perfect. And I thought, okay, now there's a bright future for this guy. But they've kind of dimmed the lights on that future for the past few years because it seems like everybody in wrestling doesn't know what to do with the Giant. They never want the Giant to be the focal point of the company. They don't want the Giant going on the talk shows. They don't want the Giant doing the Make-A-Wishes. They don't want the Giant, like as the face of the company, but it's a Giant. So you have to have a Giant. And then they just get stuck. Like, what do we do? So it's an awkward position for him to be in regardless of like his skill level, because they just never like to really push those guys to that, to that extreme. And in fairness, maybe some of them just coincidentally, that's, there haven't been like super charismatic Giants. Big Show's pretty charismatic, but they also like just fucking with him his whole career too. So they never really capitalized on everything they could get out of Paul White either. So I don't know. There's just been a lot of wasted careers of tall dudes in wrestling ever since Andre the Giant,
And I don't understand, to be honest, Vet, because I feel like today's fan base is screaming out for big guys. I mean, you see it when you see two big guys in the ring, you hear meat chants, right? I mean,
Right.
A good example is SmackDown this past week with Braun Strowman and Jacob Fatu. I know Braun is much bigger than Jacob Fatu, but Jacob Fatu is a pretty big dude in himself. Mm-hmm. And even the crowd, popped mega for that. You know what I mean? It just felt like two big guys just eyeing off each other. I think it's time to, bring back some of the big men. I mean, they don't need to be great in the ring as long as they understand psychology and, and they do it well. I think they can get by with their in-ring abilities. You know what I'm saying? And Omos, I've always felt could have been a huge star, pun intended, because you look at him, dude. Does he look intimidating or what? I mean, he does. It's not just because, not just his size, but even his look. He's well proportioned for a tall guy too, man. I feel, you know what I'm saying? Doesn't look lanky. Doesn't look almost like out of place. He looks like he's meant to be that size.
Yeah. Well, they just don't know how to have a guy like that doesn't beat everybody. That's all.
See, I'm glad you said that. I said this on the Smack Attack, as a matter of fact, yesterday. I said, if WWE had some balls, why not have him become champion, right? And no one can beat him for a good year, because he's just so big. Right. I know they will never do that, but why not do that? You know what I mean? Like, it'll be believable, because whoever does end up beating him, you're going to turn into a mega star, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like a huge star. But they don't have the balls because no one's got patience anymore.
Well, there's a way to do it. But look, I don't want to spend this entire podcast talking about how to book because I'm not getting paid for it. So fuck you. If you don't know how to do it, and you're the biggest wrestling company ever, then fuck you.
Right. Exactly.
As the professor says, big man equals special attraction, not daily attraction. Use him right, it works. However, wrestling is a daily attraction now. So it's not like the old days when you could just, put a big man on the poster to get people to buy a ticket. The people are going to buy the tickets regardless. And now you've got a big man. Are you going to pay him? You're not paying him per appearance. You're paying him per, you're paying him a salary. So, you have to get your return investment on that salary. So maybe to the professor's point, the solution is to not sign big men and bring them in for one-time paydays. So bring them in for, monthly contract. Like, we'll sign you for this month because we need you to work a program. But if you could do that with big men, you could do that with anybody. You could do that with any wrestler from any company, and then it would be almost like they're independent contractors. So, that's basically what it is. Things are just so different now because we're in the need for a content every single day now. Like pretty much every day wrestling's on. So you need something. And if you have a big man and you don't use him, people are going to be like, why aren't you using him? Same thing with Omos. People have been asking about him. They'll be like, why aren't you using him? And then here he shows up in Noah. But before that, we don't know if he's like dead or injured or what. We just don't hear from him unless you follow him on social media, which I don't. So anyway, long story short, good for Omos and Noah. Good for Noah. Noah needs, I don't even know how they're on life support. I don't even know how they run shows, because if New Japan, which is the pinnacle of Japanese wrestling right now, is the shits, then everybody else must be the absolute drizzling shits, and they need all the help they can get. That's why they were doing those like triple branded, like New Japan was trying to help out, lift up All Japan and Noah at the same time, doing like triple branded shows and stuff. Like, it's not good right now.
No, it's not. But at least I feel like WWE, though, have brought a lot of attention to Noah right now, because I hear a lot about him these days, even compared to New Japan. So credit to WWE, I guess, for that. But yeah, this matchup that's supposed to be taking place at the New Year 2025 event, he's supposed to be tag teaming with a guy called Jack Morris. I've never heard of him before, but he looks like a weird mix of Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre. He just looks like a weird dude, so I don't know who he is. But they're facing Naomichi Marufuji and Takashi Segura. Okay. And obviously, I don't know who really Segura is, but I am a fan of Marufuji, man. I mean, he's been around for many years, and he's a great talent. Probably Noah's best talent, actually, in many ways. Yeah, so that's the matchup happening in January 2025. And good luck to Omos, man. I hope it's nothing but, things going up for him, because
it's all good for everybody. It's all good for everybody,
right?
Because we're seeing WWE do these handshake deals with these promotions, and that's how it should be.
No, absolutely, man. In other news, and not so much of a big deal, but apparently Carl Anderson has been through has had a shoulder injury, and just had surgery. So I don't know what's going on with them two, but I feel like they're almost done at this point. Vet, I don't know, man, but
they've been
anyway.
Done.
Apparently
they've been done. I'm surprised it's not Now, see, if it was Gallows that had the surgery on his shoulder, he could still work, because even in the sling he could still put a chin lock on. So, like, he'd be good.
And this is in TNA news, and it's no real secret, but Jordane Grace's TNA contract is about to expire, and is reportedly finishing up with TNA commitments. I mean, this secret is no real secret, but obviously she's going to go to WWE, because they seem like they want to really make her into a big star, apparently. We'll see, though.
Yeah, and of course TNA in their infinite wisdom is like, okay, so we have this working relationship with the WWE. They want Jordynne Grace. What are we going to do? We're just job her to every woman that we have on the roster until she's gone. Why give her anything? Like, why give the WWE any reason to come and work with you some more, right? We're gonna damage the goods you're gonna get, and we hope you'll be cool with that. TNA is such a fraudulent joke of a company. I fucking hate them. You want to hear how much I hate them and how much I bury them? Tune into the Impact Attack. They did a clip show, and Brandon and I got an hour and 40 minutes out of it. That's how dedicated we are. Way more dedicated to their show than they are. So please join us every Monday night, 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, for the Impact Attack if you really want to hear about TNA.
Absolutely. And also in sad news, Jax Dane passes away at the age of 48 earlier this week. Former NWA World Heavyweight Champion Jax Dane, real name Jeremy Lehman, passed away on Wednesday at the age of 48. Dane's passing was first announced by the NWA, who stated that his cause of death was due to complications from a heart attack he suffered this past November. The National Wrestling Alliance is heartbroken to announce the passing of Jeremy Jax Dane Lehman. He was born March 10th, 1976. Dane left us on Christmas Day, December 25th, 2024, due to complications from a heart attack suffered in late November. Dane is survived by his wife, Evangelina Lehman, and stepson Nicholas, and a father who will forever cherish his memory. He was only 48 years old, vet, and from all of us here at HMG, RIP.
Yeah, that's just horribly unfortunate. The timing couldn't have been worse. It's the worst Christmas present anybody could ever get. I feel so bad. I don't... Here's something else I feel bad about. I don't even remember if I ever met him, because we should have kind of crossed paths around that same time at OVW. He might have been there when I was there, and I don't even remember if I met him. I might have, but he seemed like a really good guy, and obviously he was working really closely with obviously my friend Chris Silvio was kind of representing him there in like the manager role, really putting him over. They did a lot together on NWA, and yeah, it's just so unfortunate. 48 that's too young. It's just too young. So
yeah, boy,
everybody
young,
be I always tell everybody to be safe. And when I tell everybody to be safe, I'm talking about like accidents and stuff, because people on the road not paying attention, maybe they're driving under the influence and stuff. So always be aware so you can protect yourself. But it goes further than that. It's protect yourself in your home with your own basic health. Don't do anything stupid. Don't climb up on a cabinet to reach something, like that you shouldn't be doing. Don't do anything. Watch what you eat, watch what you put in your body, everything. Just take care of yourselves at all times. You want to have as good of a run as you can on this planet. And, every day we take things for granted, and we're not as careful as we could be. And it's things like Jax Dane that, make me want to remind you guys, always take care of yourselves at all times, because you never know when your number's up.
Yeah, I know, it's sad, man. And it's so true what you just said. And even I should, take better care of myself. I mean, shit, I've put on heaps of weight, but it's the wrong age to be putting on weight. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, like, you're so spot on when you said you should look out for yourself in every sense, including your health. But yeah, man, it's sad. He's only 48 years old, and that's young. It's not right, man. But that's life, I guess. You know what I mean? But in other stupid news, and I don't know how you feel about this, Vet, but have you seen the video footage of CM Punk wrestling in nothing but a towel around his waist?
Well, in fairness, he didn't wrestle, but yes,
well,
I saw
you know what
footage.
I mean, right?
He did a run in a towel.
Yes,
as if he was called from the shower to help, his good friend. Who was it? Damian Priest.
Apparently so. Yes.
Yeah. How do I feel about it? It's fine, because these are the kind of things that used to, these are the kind, it was for the house, it's a house show. We only saw it because we have fan footage and stuff like that. And it's meant to be just like a fun joke, for the fans in attendance. I don't have a problem with it. I would have a problem with it if it happened on a television broadcast or something like that. Or a PLE or whatever, but as for a house show for fun, for MSG, just doing something to get people to laugh and whatever, then it's fine. I understand how people are going to try to turn this into something that it's not, but you have to remember, like, regardless of how silly it looks, it's not impossible for a man to come out in a towel and fight other men. It may not be likely, and it may not be realistic, but it is possible, right? It's possible that this could happen. My problem is with the stuff that's impossible. This supernatural Wyatt family bullshit, like all that, and the idea of people getting away with doing things with no consequences, like we're going to talk about on these reviews for the shows this week. But, as far as like, CM Punk coming out in a towel, I thought it was kind of funny. I got no problem with it. Do you have any problem with it, or did you see what other people were saying?
I kind of do have a little bit of a problem, but at the same time, I get it. You know what I mean? It's 2024. People were having a hoorah, about the curtain call back in '96, for example, which was a house show. But I guess I just feel
what?
Yeah.
How is it the curtain call?
Not this. I'm not saying it is. I'm just giving an example, right? That everyone was having a hissy fit over the curtain call back then, which was on a house show anyway, right? But a few people are also hoorahing over this. Do you know what I'm saying? So
well, right, but the difference there was that they were breaking the kayfabe of, these guys don't like each other. They just fought each other. And
Right.
now they're doing
That's
something.
true.
It wasn't like they were just like, it wasn't even like they had a heated match and then they shook hands out of respect or something. They completely broke the kayfabe. And yeah, cell phones weren't prevalent there, but somebody saw it. And even those people in the building shouldn't have seen it, because that's not what they should have done. But again, they did that. But this is completely different. There's no towel kayfabe.
No, I know. I just feel like it takes a bit of it. I don't know. But like I said, it's not a big deal. It was only on a house show. But still, it's just weird. In New Japan news, we've got El Phantasmo comments on his return to New Japan following cancer treatment. El Phantasmo made his surprise return to New Japan Pro Wrestling at Sunday's Road to the Tokyo Dome event in Tokyo, Japan. During his appearance, though, El Phantasmo announced he was medically cleared to compete again prior to his return. El Phantasmo had been out of action since this past October due to him battling cancer. Following his appearance, El Phantasmo gave his thoughts in a backstage press conference about his return to New Japan and his treatment for cancer. He goes on to say, it's been a long time since I've been in Korakuen Hall, and as a matter of fact, the last time I was here was at the G1 against Takeshita, and it's even hard to wrap my brain around how different life was back then. But right now I am back. I am back in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Tomorrow, Korakuen Hall, I am back in the Tokyo Dome. I am back. There is no chance in hell I was going to miss the Tokyo Dome. As I sat at home in Canada, I didn't for a second think I was ever not going to be back in New Japan. My fighting spirit is stronger than ever. I guess congratulations to him. I'm glad he beat that, and he beat it fast, dude.
Yeah, so I guess it wasn't like, some super serious late stage anything. It was something that was caught early enough that
Must have, right?
he was able to get the treatment. That's great. I love El Phantasmo. I'm happy he's back. I'd like to see New Japan reward him for his loyalty, because he's really worked hard over there and done a lot and really doesn't have much to show for it. So I'd like them to, I'd like him to get a little bit of recognition and, some respect over there.
Absolutely, man. I'm a big fan of his also, long before, this cancer treatment and whatnot. From pretty much the beginning, he's got something to him that I actually like. But I'm just glad he's beat it, and that's all that matters, man. But before we do get into the wreckage proper, in one more piece of news, but Bandito is out as quick as he came back in. He's confirmed he suffered a concussion after his return at Ring of Honor's event last week. What was all the point of all these vignettes, just for him to be out again?
Well, they didn't know he was going to concuss himself, Jimmy.
But I know that. But what's the chances of that happening? You know what I mean? Already, they put all.
With Bandito, apparently the chances are good. I don't know.
Oh boy,
they really tried to get people hype about the return of Bandito, and oddly enough, interestingly enough, they did it using AEW television for the Ring of Honor pay-per-view, which I understand because that's going to be seen by people. Whereas if you just did it on Ring of Honor, it wouldn't. But I bet, a lot of AEW people that are watching, if this shit worked at all, where we're doing these little Old West vignettes, if that worked on anybody, where they were like, wow, this Bandito guy, I want to see him. They're expecting him to show up on Dynamite, Collision, they're going to be wanting to see him there. And now he's going to be out for an undetermined length of time, and they're still waiting. So they didn't even get to see the one thing he did because they probably didn't buy Final Battle. So it is very ironic, but these things happen.
It does. I mean, it's pro wrestling, but just after all that, just for him to be out again, and we don't even know when he'll be back this time, but good luck to him. Vet, I think that's the news, man, and that's about it. It was a bit of a newsworthy week, I guess, but now it's
more
really
than
time
usual.
More than usual, definitely. Before we do get into it, I just want to ask quickly, do you think it hurts Collision having pay-per-views on the Saturday, and then that stops them from actually doing a Collision? Or could they just do what WWE used to do, for example, have Sunday Night Heat as the pre-show per se, which they should probably do, going into their pay-per-view, they should have Collision as the kind of impromptu pre-show.
I don't know if it really matters because you would have to. I mean, did the pay-per-view? What time did it start? Do you know?
8 p.m. wasn't it?
8 p.m. Eastern.
Right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I didn't watch
Which
it
would
live,
be the normal
but, yeah.
Collision time, right?
Correct.
So if you were to have a Collision lead in, you would have to move the Collision time slot.
That's true.
And if it's going to be like, let's say, a special 1 hour Collision, then that's 7. You're going to do 2 hours of Collision and sit through 4 hours of a pay-per-view for 6 total hours. So you move it back to 6 p.m. Like, what do you do if you do that? You could move Collision to Friday and do the Rampage Collision double pack, but then it's not on its correct day, and then people are going to be confused. So one of the problems that AEW has faced, and I don't know what they could really do about it in their position, but they have been kicked from channel to channel, time slot to time slot constantly. And that doesn't help with their ratings because people are creatures. If you're still watching cable and you're still watching shit live, then you must be a creature of habit. So you must tune in at the time expecting to see your show. So imagine all those people for those first couple years that were tuning in to Dynamite, and then it moves to TBS and they just are like, hey, what happened to Dynamite? Oh, it's on TBS? I didn't like it that much anyway. I just won't watch anymore. How many times, these things happen. So, but they've constantly done that. They've been slotted and reslotted for sporting events and other things. Now they're doing it to themselves with their own pay-per-views and stuff like that. So even if you wanted to legitimately watch it live all the time, that's quite a juggling act for a normal person, isn't it? Like, think about what everybody else has to do in their life.
Right.
And then in their leisure time, they got to keep track of all the moving around that AEW is doing. And some of that is them and some of that is the networks. It's not great. I mean, Raw used to get preempted for the dog shows and tennis. And
can you believe that?
Yes, because they got better ratings than Raw back then. So
damn dog shows?
Yes. Well, they wouldn't have done it because when the dog show stopped getting better ratings than Raw, they stopped preempting Raw. They moved the dog show.
And this was around 96, 97 when that was happening, like, all the time. So you're right. Yeah, definitely.
Right. So anyway, yeah, that's a situation that the WWE doesn't usually, they don't have to face that anymore. Every once in a while, when they were on Fox and SmackDown, they'd have to move SmackDown over to FS1 for some other thing. And then they would lose like pretty much most of their audience. So
that's true.
It's people, and people already are cool with missing wrestling, clearly, judging by the ratings. So it's not going to help to just move stuff around. At AEW, I don't think it matters with Collision. I don't think it would have mattered if they did an extra episode. I think it works out. It works out the same pretty much.
Alex Slavinsky wants to know, what time is Dynamite Live? 8 p.m. American US time, Eastern, every Wednesday night on TBS. So that's the time. But anyway, Vet, let's start sifting through this wreckage, shall we?
All right.
Because we had a Dynamite of in the Hammerstein Ballroom. It was pretty much all Continental Classic matches.
Pretty much. And the crowd was into it.
Absolutely.
We started out with Ospreay versus Brody King in the Gold League match. Look, I don't care. But I will say this. I don't know what Brody King thinks he's doing when he's going to chop a guy and he has to lick his hand like Trish Stratus. You look at Brody King licking his hand. Look at Brody King. Now imagine him licking his hand. Okay? Is this
Let
what
that
you want to
sink in.
see? Is this sexy to you? What, you're a grown adult man licking your hand before you chop another guy in the chest. This guy has a job.
Damn, that's cold, Vet. But you're right.
Well, guess what? Guess what happens? Stormbreaker, you lose. Don't get your hopes up that you're ever going to be anything in this or any other company, Brody King. Just don't. Stick with your music gig.
Shit. I mean, you're right. He should be an absolute killer, man. Not doing, ridiculous shit like that. I couldn't agree with you more, and I'm glad you pointed that out. But yeah, anyway.
Todd Brantley says, weird AF. Sammy Callahan does it too. Yeah, another fat weirdo that shouldn't be in wrestling. Except he doesn't play instruments, so I don't know if he's got a backup gig.
I mean, I don't even know how he's. Yeah, anyway, forget Sammy Callahan. I've never been a fan of his ever. But anyway, Brody, he's got potential, man. But like you said, when he does silly shit like that, what should you care? You know what I mean? And he's gonna go nowhere. Unfortunately, like you said, man, he's gonna go absolutely nowhere. WWE seems like they've never really been interested in him. AEW use him like this, and I'm sure it was his idea to lick his own friggin' hand. You know what I mean? So,
the agent didn't give him that.
I'm pretty sure the agent didn't give him that.
Oh, okay.
But you know what, Vet? A lot of these friggin' wrestlers are kind of doing weird shit like that anyway, dude. What about licking each other's blood? What the hell, man?
I mean, at least with that, you could see I see what they're trying to do when they do that. They're trying to say, like, I'm such a savage that, like, I'll eat a human being or whatever. But licking your own hand, I don't even understand why the women do it. But at least they're women, so there's something, like, feminine about licking something. This guy, whatever. Let's just move on. Renee Young, or Paquette, excuse me. Renee Paquette with Christopher Daniels. He's got the Hurt Syndicate there. He informs MVP and Lashley they're banned from the building, even though they're already in the building. So they probably should have done this before they stepped inside and went up, all these, they took the elevator or went up the flights of stairs or however they did it. So whatever, but they're banned for some strange unknown reason, even though they're not allowed at ringside for Continental Classic matches, but they still have to be banned from the whole building. So, hey.
But they were in the building, like you said.
Yeah, this is going to be one of the last. Yeah, spoiler alert. This is going to be one of the last acts that Christopher Daniels performs in his role. Okay, next is.
Oh, shit.
Next is Darby Allin versus Ricochet. Now,
this was a good match, I felt, actually, from these two, because they weren't flying around. They were actually wrestling a lot in this match.
I wanted to point that exact thing out, because you see a guy like Brody King and Will Ospreay, and Brody King's licking his hand, right?
Right.
You see Darby Allin and Ricochet, you're like, oh, God, what's going to happen here? I'll tell you what's going to happen. They're going to anchor with a headlock. You know what anchoring means, Jimmy?
Well, anchoring.
Do you have any idea?
We're starting. We're stopping with a freaking with a headlock, dude.
If in terminology, anchor would mean that you're using this particular move to tell a self-contained story within the match. So the story is that Darby has a headlock and Ricochet can't get out of the headlock. So rather than flip around, run around, and do a bunch of stuff, they're telling a story with a headlock. Darby Allin and Ricochet. That's why these guys are on this level and Brody King's in the fucking toilet. Because he doesn't understand this shit at all. He's in there licking his hand. Right?
Psychology.
And then the crash test dummy and the flippy guy are telling a headlock story in the ring. That, like, Gerald Briscoe would be like, God damn, that's good wrestling. So that's why they are where they are.
And it stood out too. That's the thing. You know what I mean? They proved that they don't need to just flip around and do shit to actually have a great matchup, because this match was actually very freaking good.
Right. Yeah, and Ronnie Donnie saying the crowd was dead. Clearly didn't watch the show. Because Ricochet was actually in this match, he was taking the crowd heat and he was actually using it. Like instead of just doing his next move, again, he's working. He's going around, he's talking trash to the people back. They're yelling at him, chanting at him. He's working it, he's using it. He's letting Darby sell, and he's using the crowd heat like a wrestler, not a hand licker. They did that spot. They did do that spot with the 630 through the table. My God. If you do like the stunt car crash stuff, then there's your spot right there. That was something.
That was bad. Yeah, that was really bad. I mean,
but essentially, but essentially, they end up getting a draw, and Ricochet advances on points. So interesting, but the guys had a good match. They told the story. They did what they needed to do. Ricochet moves on with all that heat. So the right guy, I think.
Do you think so? Yeah, look, I think it was a fair result, I think, with these two, to be honest. Because I forgot. I was that into the match, no shit, that I didn't realize we were coming up to 20 minutes, put it that way. As soon as they announced that they were at the 18th minute mark, I was like, oh shit, already? You know what I mean? And Ronnie, I don't know what you were watching, man, but the crowd were hot for this match all the way through. And
he's just here to start shit. Okay, one of his accounts. But anyway, so as Darby is leaving, Commander's coming out, and he whispers something to Commander and Alex, and then he goes to the back. Yeah, right, so we're getting ready for our next match. Then Jay White does a promo. It's a short promo, really nothing to write home about or anything. And then we have Commander versus Claudio in the next Gold League match. And this is your typical, exactly what you'd imagine. If I told you that Claudio was going to have a match with Commander, you would immediately think that he would throw Commander around for like 15 minutes, and then something would happen, like probably he would just beat him. But in this particular instance, Commander goes under the ring, and Darby's pink fur coat is under there, and he's got brass knuckles hidden in it, which must have been what he told Commander. And then
for sure,
he hits Claudio, and then hits the tightrope shooting star, and gets the win to eliminate Claudio from contention. The television champion of Ring of Honor, Commander, getting a big win with brass knucks.
Actually, are you sure it was Commander? Because for a minute, you look like Ultimo Commander. If you know
Ultimo
what I mean.
Commander. That's right.
Yeah, that's why he's winning. Because I felt like what he was wearing was a throwback to Ultimo Dragon, dude.
Yep. Yeah, so anyway, there's that. But then the Death Riders had to come out, right? Because it wouldn't be yeah. And then and of course Moxley has to bring his suitcase to the ring, the one that has the hidden title in it, right?
Of course. I hate this stupid gimmick, but whatever, yeah.
And then one of the other and then of course you have to have all people that are going to be in the four-way together at a meeting right there, right?
Typical.
So. And then we get all right, we get our Blue League match, Okada versus Shelton Benjamin. I mean, this was okay.
Also, man.
This was okay.
I liked it.
It was okay.
It was okay. It wasn't as good as Ricochet and Darby, but it was still a decent match. And Okada, man, I know with the giving the bird, instead of doing the Rainmaker gimmick, he does the bird now. It still pops me, man. I mean, they both showed respect for each other, though, at the start of the match by shaking hands. I mean, these two know each other. I mean, Shelton used to wrestle in New Japan many, many years ago now. I actually liked him in New Japan back then. And they had a decent matchup, man. But the right guy obviously won the match.
Yeah, of course. And the finish was a little sudden. I thought it seemed like they had to like instantly take it home or something. It's not the usual build up, but I noticed that I don't maybe one time's a coincidence, two times, no, or one, once is a fluke, two times a coincidence. But I mean, I've seen Shelton have some matches with some guys that's like, I know it's not the other guy. So, I don't know if he's just not, maybe he's just like, he's taking a little too much seniority, I guess. I don't know. But
you think so?
I don't know. They had it was weird because his match with Mortos I didn't think was as good as it could have been.
I loved it weird enough. Like, yeah, that's strange, man. But I don't know why I liked it, but I did. But you felt obviously different about this match also. And when you say,
it was not on par with what these guys can do, I think.
Well, you know what, Okada, I feel like Okada now is getting way over as a babyface, but like naturally though, like it's happening organically. The fans now are just cheering the hell out of him, no matter what. And he's kind of, I don't want to say he's he's sort of he's going between now both. But do you think we're gonna maybe get a Okada babyface run moving forward, possibly?
I mean, what's the difference? If they're just going to cheer everything he does, he's already there. So he shouldn't change. He should continue to be. Here's the thing. For the people that haven't watched his entire, 12-year career as the Rainmaker, he's always been a dick heel. The only difference is, do the people like him or not? And how much does he play into it? Like, he can be noble, but even as, a heel, he rarely would do anything like cheating or
never. I've never seen him cheat.
Right. He's never really cheated that much until he came to AEW, and he's just doing that because that's what American audiences are used to.
Right. But I'm talking about in Japan, not once did I ever see him cheat. Not that I can remember.
Yeah, not in the traditional ways. Like maybe Gato would do stuff, but
Well, it's usually others. Even in AEW, it's always like the Bucks, for example, that are doing it for him.
So he's always the idea has been he's just a cocky prick because he's the best and he knows it. So he doesn't have to really change that much of his character between being a face or a heel in a traditional sense. That's one of the reasons that he's so good, is because he's able to manage his character in a way that it's not jarring for him to do anything. Everything he does will make sense whether fans like him or not. So, if he's doing this thing, he probably thought he would get more heat than he is, but he didn't. I think maybe AEW underestimated the amount of respect that the fans have for him, because every time he comes out, he gets a big reaction, and even if the crowd isn't that big, there's clearly noise when he comes out. And you've been in the building with him when he's have a big match, and so have I. The energy's different when he's there. People are excited to see him, so they're always going to like him no matter what he's doing, and him being a heel is not going to change their mind. So
absolutely, dude. And even
we'll talk.
He's got
we'll talk more about that later, but he does beat Shelton Benjamin and shake his hand. I mean, they do shake hands, so
twice.
Hey, all right. Then we have Renee with Swerve and Nana, and then Ricochet interrupts, and Swerve says, don't blow it like you always do, talking about the Continental Classic. And then as he walks away, and this was funny, Ricochet's like, that's why you ain't got no house no more.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of that, before you move on, did you see what TNT did on YouTube, on their YouTube channel?
TNT? No.
TNT, the actual TNT. They put, where Hangman is just sitting in front of the burning house for 10 hours straight, dude. On loop. I have no idea why.
They did the 10 hours of Hangman in the burning house?
I kid you not, bro. And I'm like, what the hell? Why? Why would they do that? But they did. So whatever. Cool, I guess.
I'm sorry to Tennessee Couponer. He asked, do I think it's a chemistry issue as far as like Shelton Benjamin? Well, yeah, I mean, that's the easy way to call it. I mean, I guess you could call it a chemistry issue. So I don't know. It's just, I could just see people wanting to defer to Shelton because he's so experienced, and I don't know. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. I don't know, but this match was fine. It was much better than the Mortos match. But I know they could have done better, and that finish did come out of nowhere. Anyways, back to the New York Minute, where Chris Jericho accepts Bowens' challenge on Rampage. So please look forward to that. Rampage. Next is Toni Storm versus Taya Valkyrie with Deonna in her corner. Storm hits the Storm inside cradle for not a Storm Zero, but a Storm Cradle for the win. So she steals a win from Taya Valkyrie. And then nothing after that. Then we have Renee with Hangman Adam Page, and here comes Christopher Daniels, and he's like, for some weird reason, Christopher Daniels is like, if you need a friend, I got your back or something. I'm just like, what? Why?
Not just that, he looks like when he's in these segments, dude, I feel like I don't know if I want to say he wants to laugh, but he looks like he's not taking it seriously, dude, and it kind of ruins the whole segment. But why he's saying that is another weird question. I guess he's got an itch to get back into the ring, and I don't even want to see him in the ring at this point.
Yeah, me neither. So speaking of don't want to see it in the ring, Daniel Garcia versus Kyle Fletcher in your main event in the Blue League match. And Jimmy, there's a phrase that some of the kids these days like to use when it comes to watching stuff on the internet. Skippa.
And it was the damn main event.
Yeah, skippa.
What the hell, bro?
Yeah, turnbuckle brainbuster on Daniel Garcia. And then Ospreay comes out.
Move. I bet.
Yeah, I bet Daniel Garcia hates it too.
Yeah,
and then
I'm sure.
Yeah, Ospreay comes out to face his arch enemy Kyle Fletcher, and they look at each other. They look at each other really hard.
Dude, I guess I got it kind of wrong. Instead of them meeting in the final, they meet in the semifinals, right? Do you think they got it wrong with that in a sense, in your opinion, or nah? But I don't want you to spoil anything either. But anyway,
here's a sneak preview for later. No, I don't think they got it wrong. So, stay tuned to find out what I'm talking about. Yeah. But speaking of wrong, we got a Moxley promo to close out the show. I don't remember which one this is because I just wrote down Moxley promo. So I don't remember what this was. This was all the way back on Wednesday now, so I forget. But which one? Do you remember which one this was?
Yeah, basically what he was saying is he wants everybody to like stand up and be accountable, basically, and try to get that championship. I guess that's what this thing is all about. After all, he's trying to make everybody better, but no one seems to be getting onto his level to be better. And basically, that's the message he was spreading. Cool.
Well, how can they be better if they're in there drinking cleaning fluid?
Yeah, it's true. That's why I find this whole thing weird and stupid. This is totally Moxley's idea, obviously. He thinks it's going to be over. I don't like what the narrative is. If that's the narrative, I really don't buy it. You know what I mean? And it's kind of cheesy to me. But so you're gonna hit everybody till they step up.
Yeah, he'll kill everybody until there's nobody left to step up.
Right.
But I think I mean like the like many thing,s the idea is there. It's it's your execution of it. Literally execution in some cases. When Daniel Bryan's concerned, you're trying to execute him on television. So
stupid.
These things, like I can understand where Moxley, where his mental like
psyche,
where he's going with it. Like I can understand his idea. I can understand his thought process. I understand how he wants it to come off, but the things that he's doing don't make sense in the real world. So they don't even make sense in the wrestling world. So for that aspect of it, it's all about the execution. It's not such a bad idea, but it doesn't make any sense. But it's not even, we're not even to the point where it makes the least sense now, because we still got Rampage to talk about. So let's go there now, and we'll eventually circle back around to Moxley, but we're starting with the King of New York. Yes. No, not Frank White. We're talking about Chris Jericho, and he's got Big Bill with him. And then he's taking on, as promised, Anthony Bowens, and Max Caster's with him. So they're still friends, kind of. And Max does come out and does a half-ass rap. His one line gets no pop, and then he just says, "Yeah, I'm the best wrestler alive," and then leaves Bowens hanging. So anyway, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I paid attention to this match with a critical eye. It was mostly on in the background while I was doing other things. But I will say that there were a lot of shenanigans because there were all these people at ringside. And what ended up happening was big business bad apple bounty hunter Brian Bakeith came in. Of course, you knew he would. And then Max comes in to try to counteract him, and they have the Ring of Honor belt, and they're like playing tug of war with it. And then Max pulls it away from Bakeith and hits Bowens and knocks him out with the belt. And then he gets taken out, and then Chris Jericho covers Bowens for 3. So actual belt shot put somebody down in AEW. That was nice. But other than that, it was just, Chris Jericho, being fat in trunks and bending over a lot. So
what are you insinuating there, man?
Nothing. It's just a coincidence. He's in there with Bowens, I guess, but
fair enough. Anyway,
but I think it wasn't anything sexual. It was more just because he had to like catch his breath or whatever. Because
Jericho, he shouldn't even be in those type of chunks anymore, dude. But whatever. That's how we feel.
It's time to bring the pants back, the long tights back, please.
Please, please do that.
All right. Next, Private Party rides public transportation all the way to the ring. The subway drops them off right at the right at the ring. No, just kidding. They have to walk a little bit, and they got some paparazzi following them. They're a big thing. They're so big, in fact, Jimmy. They came out and they did their entrance. Crowd was into it, despite popular belief. They were all chanting shots, and everything, and then they put the record on screen. Do you happen to remember? Does anybody happen to remember what Private Party's career record in AEW is?
I don't, but someone in the chat does. Please let us know, though, Vet, because this is going to be surprising, maybe, or maybe not so surprising.
Well, before they can Google it and sound smart, I'll just say 44 wins, 36 losses.
Shit. That's their career record in AEW?
Yep. Wow. But they are above 500, so give them that.
I guess. But still, that's not, it's pretty 50-50 almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's close.
Jeez. It's very close. And that's typical. That's AEW for you. And surely they do, I think they fake some of the win-loss ratios for some of the wrestlers. They would have to, dude.
Why bother? Like, if you're going to fake it, why don't you just make everybody undefeated then?
Well, yeah, I guess if you want to be like that, but
yeah, clearly 44 and 36 sounds pretty realistic.
It does, but not as your champions though. You shouldn't be champions with that sort of record, really.
Hey, it took them a long time,
Yeah, 5 years, I guess. You're right. But like Cold Blooded said in the chat, that's Hall of Fame numbers right there, pal.
That's right. Yeah, let's give it to him. Give it up for him.
Yeah, for sure.
And give it up for their opponents, Leo Sparrow and Alec Price. Give it up.
Who? Leo Sparrow? Is he a bird?
Captain Leo Sparrow, yes.
Yeah. More jobbers.
Yeah, well, he couldn't have done any worse in this match if he had drank all the rum, because this don't take long. But afterwards, after they hit the gin and juice, the Koopa kids come out and they're gonna fight, and then the flight attendants come out and they're gonna fight, and everybody kind of fights.
Were they all flying in the ring?
Yeah, maybe a little.
God damn.
But yeah. Then we get
for the last Rampage, just quietly. I mean, come on, man.
You're right. There's what a way to go out. Will Hobbs gets a promo.
Cool.
And I don't know about this promo. Maybe Will Hobbs doesn't get a promo.
What do you mean?
It was not that good. It's not that good.
Was it that bad? Was it really that bad?
It was written and memorized.
Okay.
I could definitely tell that.
Okay.
And yeah, I didn't buy it. I didn't buy it. I just didn't buy it. Yeah, I didn't feel like this was authentic Will Hobbs. And if it is authentic Will Hobbs, then I just don't buy him as a badass or a powerhouse.
Damn. Let's hope it was that he had that shit written for him. Let's hope.
Yeah. No, Mike says maybe he needs to get back in that book he had. Yeah, maybe.
Maybe, yeah, I agree.
I mean, if you're going to read a promo, you might as well have the book in front of you. So,
true.
Next is Thunder Rosa versus Layla Gray. So, and Thunder Rosa wins with the, I guess I will call it the Cobra Camel Clutch, because she it's like a camel clutch, except she doesn't grab the chin. She does a Cobra Clutch on you and bends you in half. So it looks pretty painful. Okay. I like it. And then we have our main event, which is, I should have been excited for this, and it ended up being all right. But that's Hook versus Nick Wayne. It actually had, because of the atmosphere and because of the fact that these are two guys who are like similar in stature, I guess, even though Hook's like more muscular than Nick Wayne, but Nick Wayne's a little taller. So they're like, okay, now they kind of look similar and they're young. It kind of felt like with the ballroom atmosphere and everything and the entrances, it felt like a big deal. Like it kind of felt like a big deal. And they had a good match. I think. I still think Nick Wayne is weird. There's something about, he won't look at his opponent. Like he doesn't keep his eyes on the other guy, which it's just so off-putting for some reason. I don't know if anybody else notices that, but when you see Nick Wayne in there and he's just doing stuff like no look, like what is he? Is he Magic Johnson on the Showtime Lakers with the no look? Like why won't he look at his opponent, man?
I see you've pointed that out now for the last few weeks, and why would he do that though? Like, what would be behind that? Is he like, does he realize he's excuse me? Does he realize that he's actually doing that? That's another question.
I don't think he realizes it. It doesn't seem like a conscious choice. It just seems like that's
weird. That is definitely weird. You know what? I know it's going to sound silly and probably not the case, but I'll say it anyway. They say if you have a thyroid problem, you're not able to stare, the other person in the eyes properly for long. I wonder if it has something to do with that. I mean, you never know. Yeah,
I don't know what it is. It's just some weird thing. I don't know. It's just a peculiar quirk that he has. But in wrestling, it's really, to me, way more important than you doing your cool moves is if I see on your face that you have some emotion that looks like something I can relate to, whether that's anger, fear, determination, pain, like whatever's on your face. And it's way more important to be able to like look at your opponent and react to what you're seeing than it is for you to be able to do a springboard no look cutter. Right. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see on your face, like, I hate Hook, and I'm going to kill this motherfucker. I need to see that in Nick Wayne's face. But if Nick Wayne won't look at him, I can't see it. So that's what I'm telling you.
Doubt.
But despite all that, decent match. There's shenanigans, of course, because the patriarchy, like Kip's there, Mom's there, Christian's sometimes there. Eventually, they all come in and try to help. And then Shibata comes out with this comically big... It's not even a 2x4. It's like he's got like a whole fence slat and he's carrying it. He's chasing them all. He chases them all around the ring. And then, and Nick Wayne goes for his no-look springboard cutter, and Hook catches him out the air and puts him in the red rum, and he taps out. It looks sweet. Nice finish, but the match was, it was all right. It was not bad. But that's really not going to be the last thing we see on this Rampage. It's the main event match. It's the last match, but there's more. So we go to the Death Riders, who are in some stairwell, and they have Darby Allin already beat up. The other weird thing about this is that everybody in the Death Riders are in their street clothes. Like Marina Shafir's in her street clothes, Mox is in his t-shirt and jeans, Claudio's in his t-shirt and jeans, Wheeler's in his t-shirt and whatever. Pac's just in his full gear, which when Pac's in his gear, it's just like a guy in his underpants because he's wearing no shirt, he's oiled up and wet and just standing there with his trunks on.
You think he does that intentionally though? Like just to, I don't know if it's a rib or...
Well, he didn't have it. Did he have any matches?
No.
Like I just ran down Dynamite. I don't recall saying his name. There was no Collision. I don't think he was on Ring of Honor. So he came to the tapings and did this spot on Rampage. He just stripped down to his trunks, got wet, and stood there while everybody else is in their street clothes.
That's weird, dude. When you put it like that, it sounds so weird. But yeah, I know it's weird. I don't know what to tell you about that. That's just strange.
So yeah, that was that. And then they Pillmanized Darby with the old chair around the neck. Cause they can do anything. This is at some location somewhere. Don't quite know where it is. They could do anything. So they get the same folding chair that every wrestling promotion has. And they do that thing where they step on, or Claudio steps on it while it's on Darby's neck. And then they kick him down the stairs. So, of course, Darby's going to take a bump down those stairs. That probably sucked. And then Ian Riccaboni's like, I'm being told that the Death Riders are on their way to Hammerstein. So, extra phony. Like, who's telling you? And how do you know? They're still there in whatever stairwell that is. How the hell do you know where they're going? Who would know that? They're all there on camera. If one of them was calling Tony Khan and saying, we're coming to Hammerstein, we would have seen it. And other than that, I don't know who. Was the cameraman? Did the cameraman alert? I guess they alerted him.
When you break it down like that, it is actually kind of silly. Even when they're on camera, but they're saying to hide, if you know what I mean. Like, don't tell blah, blah, blah. I hate those segments because you're telling it to the world. So whoever you want that secret not to be told to, they heard it already. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm glad that you mentioned that. Because we'll get to that in a second. But first, let's finish the show for good.
All right, go for it. For good, literally.
So Moxley and Marina are in the ring now. When we come back, they're in the ring. He's sitting in a chair. He's saying, like, anybody's got a problem with what I'm doing, come out and tell me your problem. He rambles like an idiot, like trying to say this basically, like, you got a problem, do something about it. I think Nia Jax pretty much nailed it, and Ben has a soundbite of her nailing it. Any of you got a problem with that? Like, he could have just said the Nia Jax thing, but he didn't. He mumbled around for like 45 seconds, and then so he's like basically inviting anybody who has a problem to come out. Who has a problem? Commander has a problem. Commander comes out, and they beat the shit out of him. And then Top Flight comes out. They got a problem, and they beat the shit out of Top Flight. And then Orange Cassidy's music comes on, and Marina goes outside the ring to, like, what are you going to do? Hit a woman? Like, yeah, probably. But he doesn't have to, because the next music that plays is Willow Nightingale's. So She comes out and they awkwardly hug each other for a while. And then Adam Page comes out. Jay White comes out. Then everyone comes out. Christian comes out and he's in the balcony and he's got his contract, holding his contract up there. So everybody's out there, and this is a chance where the whole locker room could kick the shit out of the Death Riders, and they're all fighting each other instead. Like, just whatever. Like, they're all just like, yeah, Leo Rush is like fighting Top Flight. Like, they're just, they completely lost they missed the assignment. This was the chance for AEW to get up on the Death Riders, and they did. Now I get it. That wasn't what they wanted, so they didn't do it. Right. But it's weird to have everybody come out and start fighting each other. Why weren't you just doing that in the back then? If you just wanted to all fight all the time, you didn't have to come out to the ring to do it. You could have been fighting back there, but you chose to come out here where the Death Riders were and fight other people, which is very, very strange because they've been trying to murder you all.
Yeah.
And you just forgot about it and started punching each other. So you're idiots. Then Pac in his underwear, trunks, goes and takes this long pipe and starts hitting this circuit board or whatever. And then, or like a control panel, and he hits it. And on the third time, the lights go out. So all the lights go out. And then that's Moxley's chance to escape, even though nobody was really beating him up that bad. But he escapes, and then he goes into the truck, the control room truck, and takes that over. And he basically starts yelling at the guys in the truck and then everything. And then he tells them to end it. He grabs the guy and tells him to end the show, and they end the show, and it goes off the air like that.
So going by TK's logic here, he wanted to end the show on a rampage.
If you call it that, sure.
That's what I'm saying. That's basically what they were trying to say, I think, right? But it just doesn't come across that way.
Yeah.
And it feels NWO-esque by going to the TV production truck again. And
yeah,
I don't know, but like people say in the chat, RIP Rampage.
It's an idea. Just doesn't make sense. And I'll tell you something even worse about it. So Scott Woodford says, why was there no security near the truck? That question, that's like 50th on the list of questions I would have. Like, I'm not even worried about where the security by the truck is. Just, there's a bunch of other questions. But what do you think if you guys, and you can all play along, Jimmy and chat, everyone, you can all try to guess. So Death Riders come in and end Rampage, allegedly.
Right.
No, okay. What do you think my biggest problem with this is? Go ahead. I'll give you some time to throw out some guesses. What's Vet's biggest problem with the Death Riders ending Rampage?
That's a good question, man. Why do you put me on the spot?
Because we're live and we're the best.
I know, but yeah, because it was stupid. And that's not even your thing. But basically, where's the logic in all of that?
Yeah. No logic? Of course there's no logic. That goes without saying, but that's not it. It's the biggest problem I have. If you think about it, I think somebody can get it. But, I'll give you like...
Wait. I've got an idea, maybe.
Okay.
Because it was done on Rampage?
No.
Am I close?
No.
Okay.
Let's see. What else are we seeing? No one sees it? No. That's true, but no, that's not my biggest problem. It's part of the plot? No.
Canceled it. It's a hard one, Viet.
Tony should have canceled it. All right, we'll go with that. Right? It's not that Tony should cancel it. It's that we found out that this was going to be the last episode of Rampage. How?
True. Because of them. Because of AEW telling us.
Right.
Right.
If you were going to do an angle to end Rampage, why would you tell people that? Why wouldn't you let it be like, well, John Moxley ended Rampage, so whatever. Right. Now, forget about the fact that doesn't make any sense. Like, why are you the bald guy in the t-shirt, why are you calling the shots in my company? Never mind that, but like, why would you tip people off that this is going to be the last episode of Rampage? Because now we're thinking that, and then we're already knowing the outcome of this before he does it.
Right. No, you're
so
right.
There's no
That's
point.
True,
why would you spoil your own thing? We could have just found out on the spot, like, and we could have thought there would be a Rampage next week, and then we find out there's not. But they just can't help themselves.
Right. That would have been actually a lot better if they did that. Now that you say that, now that I think about it, that would have been actually shocking to end it like that. Actually, they could have intertwined it into the storyline by actually, it's because of the Death Riders that Rampage is no more. They've literally somehow, with whatever power they've got, cancelled. You know, it was that bad, that ending, that Rampage was no more. But they don't think, I guess. You know what I mean? And they could have done a lot with this. Even with what I said, you don't even have to do it like that. But they could have literally intertwined it with the actual storyline, and it would have made more sense, and they would have gotten more heat by doing so. But unfortunately, they didn't do that.
No, they didn't. No, they fucking didn't. They did what they always do, which is let stuff get out. And then if they think that's promotion for it, no. All it is fodder for people that hate them to talk about how stupid they are even more than they already do.
Facts,
which
man.
ends up including us, which I don't make it my mission to come on here and bury AEW. I just make it my mission to come on here and report on what I've seen and what they give me. I grade what they give me. I'm not trying to take them down. So I want them to do things right so I can be entertained. And when they do dumb shit, it's
yeah, I know it's fucked up. But
anyway,
before we do move on though to the pay-per-view, tell me one thing, Vet. What's the legacy, in your opinion, of Rampage going to be?
The legacy?
Like, in your opinion, what do you think Rampage's legacy will be, remembered for?
It's going to be remembered. Well, I mean, if you're talking about things of significance that happened on Rampage, it would be the return of CM Punk. But
that's exactly right. That's what I was
saying. If we're talking,
like,
but yeah, if you're talking about what the actual legacy is going to be, it's going to be people are going to think of it as superfluous and unnecessary.
Well, yeah. Well, in the last 2-3 years, absolutely, you're spot on. But for me, it's always going to be remembered for CM Punk, and his second coming back to pro wrestling. I mean, remember the motive of the show, the whole, thing of the show was the fastest, 1 hour of the best wrestling, in the world. And, at one stage, they could have really done a Dynamite version in 1 hour. Like, imagine it was like Dynamite, but condensed in 1 hour, where it was all top grade, but they didn't do that. Unfortunately, once Collision came along, it really killed it off. But even then, before Collision, Rampage was already fading, like, big time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because they could have done something special with it. It didn't help that the time slot they're in was pretty late on a Friday night, which is, it's a shame. But unfortunately, it just became, I guess, dark in many ways of AEW without it being called AEW Dark, but even maybe a little bit better than that. But it could have been something special, but unfortunately they didn't capitalize.
Yeah, all it ends up being is like, well, basically what you have is you had 2 hours of wrestling, then you had a third hour, then you got a fourth and fifth hour, and that's really all it is. There's really no difference between the shows. The shows don't have identity. There's no significant real difference. You're just which matches are going to be on which nights. That's it. That's the only thing. So if you look at a Rampage card and you don't see anything that you want to see, you're not going to tune in. They could have done a better job of balancing the shows, but instead, they'll give you they'll give you Daniel Garcia in the main event of Dynamite, and then they'll give you more Daniel Garcia on Rampage, and nobody wants that. So that's kind of how it was for a while. But ultimately, a lot of the shows don't have identity. Raw and SmackDown don't really have an identity. It's just, they're just more wrestling shows and more hours of television. So that's basically it. So, whatever. They They were just looking for an excuse to get rid of it. They could have took a nothing show, turned it into something, and didn't even do that right. So they fumbled it in every way they could fumble it, from, the inception to the booking to the, to the if this is the end, then the ending too. So they blew it. But that was the last thing we were going to see, is them going to black, and then the next night was going to be the world ending. So I will tell you up front, I saw some of this. I'm sure you can imagine, if I only had a chance to see, one or two things on this show, what the two things were. So I could talk about that, but as for the rest of it, I'll leave it to you, Jimmy.
Well, let me just get up the card in the meantime. But RIP once again to Rampage. I still can't believe. You know what, Vet? I just want to ask quickly. Do you think AEW wanted Rampage to end, or they just had no other choice but to end it anyway?
People have been telling AEW to pull the plug on Rampage for years, and they just don't want to do it right away.
Right.
Because then it looks like they're just listening to what people say. So they wait however long it takes, 6 months, a year, whatever. And then they do what everybody told them to do a long time ago. That's the AEW pattern.
Just denial every time it feels like, dude. But it is what it is, man. And, it's a shame. It's a shame. But I'm just getting the World Ends card now. I didn't watch the pre-show just quietly, but apparently Storm was on the pre-show again. I don't. Why would they do that to her, man? I don't understand.
Because in her character, she's just starting at AEW and she's working her way up the card, so it actually makes sense.
Okay, all right. That makes sense, I guess. All right. Well, it was the first match of the pre-show. It was Layla Gray versus Toni Storm. Like I said, I didn't watch this, but apparently Toni Storm won via pinfall with an inside cradle. Next, we've got Jeff Jarrett.
That handsome young babyface Toni Storm winning with the technical wrestling pins. Well, I hope John Moxley isn't trying to cancel Jimmy right now with this fucked up internet that he has. I apologize for everybody.
Oh, don't tell me. Is that happening again?
It's never not been
blurry
happening.
Right now, Vet? That's what I need to know. Damn it,
you're
man.
Delayed and you're
anyway,
frozen and everything.
All right, let me just refresh for 2 seconds. All right, give me 1 sec.
All right, I'll just stroke the beard and vamp for everybody. Yeah, Jerome's saying the audio's cracking. Cold Blood says that Toni Storm has potential. She sure does. Dummy Con, yeah. Tony Khan will use these failures as tax reasons. Well, I think Warner Brothers is going to use it for tax reasons. They're the ones that are taking the loss of an hour of programming. Hey, Jimmy, how's it going?
I'm good. I just saw in the chat Joanne saying that my audio is cracking. Tell me if it's cracking now, and I'll hopefully fix that. But anyway,
it's just lower than it was.
But the show for now, much lower.
We'll let them decide.
Is it okay?
We're live, pal.
All right. Well, anyway, next it's Jeff Jarrett versus QT Marshall. Not sure
really?
why this match was happening, but it did. Yeah, I don't know why, but it did happen. But nevertheless, Jeff Jarrett does win via pinfall via the stroke. Thank God for that. Annie, great. And then the last match, actually, it wasn't the last match. No, it was. Of the pre-show was, Action Andretti, Leo Rush, and Murder Machines in Brian Cage and Lance Archer versus the Outrunners in Truth Magnum and Turbo Floyd and Top Flight in Dante and Darius Martin.
Fucking random.
That's very random. I saw like sort of 2 minutes of this as I was getting ready for the pay-per-view. But anyway, Action Andretti, Leo Rush, and the Murder Machines end up winning via pinfall. With a frog splash from Rush onto Dante Martin. Post-match, Murder Machines continue to chew Leo out over stealing the win, and then Private Party make the entrance to have a showdown with their challengers. Ooh. But that leaves us to the main card, dude, and we start off with a banger, I guess. It is for your AEW Continental Classic semifinals matchup between Cole Fletcher and Will Ospreay. Now, Vet, I'm assuming you didn't watch this because this wasn't one of your preferred matches.
Skipper.
But, this was exactly what you would have expected anyway. A whole bunch of near falls. We had blood, and more so from Will Ospreay.
Mm-hmm.
These two went back and forth. It felt like for eternity. Still, it was a great match for what it was. If you put all the shit aside, it was still a great match. And Fletcher does not win, funny enough. It's Ospreay who wins via pinfall with the Styles Clash. But, man, they did everything in this match. I mean,
he won with the Styles Clash?
With the Styles Clash, dude. The Styles Clash. He couldn't win with everything else. He did all these finishes. It didn't work. I thought there's a whole bunch of near falls, dude. This is exactly what you would have thought these two would have had in a match. Let's be honest. It was typical AEW style matchup. And Ospreay does get the win. But, dude, I saw him cut up in about 3 different places around his forehead. He was bleeding pretty bad. And I think it was done on purpose to protect him later on.
Well, yeah. It's his out.
Exactly. That's exactly what this shit was. But he looked pretty bad after the match, I won't lie. But yeah, Ospreay does win via Styles Clash. And next, though, we see another Continental Classic semifinals match. And I was thinking, what a bad spot to put these two. But if anyone can outdo the first two, it's these two. And it's Kazuchika Okada versus Ricochet. And now I know you would have paid attention to this match.
Oh, yes.
And I enjoyed this match. I would have thought I would have been a little gassed after the first match. But this, man, the heat that Ricochet was getting once again.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I'm getting to the point where I almost feel bad for him.
No. Why? This is what he wants.
I know. But
he's
just
doing
the way
this.
He sells it. It really looks like and we'll go into what happens a bit later also because, we have...
Oh, yeah, yes, of course.
After this match. But what do you think of this matchup, though, Vet?
I'm going to teach everybody a little Japanese.
Oh.
Okay? And the word is kanpeki. Kanpeki.
Konpeki? What does
Kanpeki. Perfect.
Konpeki is really perfect in Japanese. Nice. Konpeki, yeah.
You could not do any better than these guys did in this match.
It was a great match.
Both of them. Awesome. If you didn't see it, it's worth it.
I did have one
If you did see it, it's a possibility you didn't appreciate it enough. Go watch it again. Yeah, you're talking about the best wrestler alive, with all due respect to Max Caster, and Ricochet's a guy that can completely hold up his end of the bargain. Yeah, I loved it. And I didn't see the Will Ospreay Fletcher match, but basically I have. I've seen it many times. I know exactly what both those dudes do. Right. They can't help themselves. This, completely different. Absolutely fantastic match. I loved it.
I loved it too, and that's what I mean. I didn't expect to... I thought these two had a lot to live up to because the AEW fan base loved that first style of matchup. You know what I mean? So really, they had to knock it out the park, and they did. It was a completely different type of match. The thing that bothered me was towards the end, where Ricochet went to pick up Okada to do a pole driver of some sort, and he didn't lift him up properly and kind of dropped, and it dropped him kind of on his head. It didn't do any damage, but it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, it was an uncomfortable teardrop bump. Right. There was a couple of things they didn't execute the match perfectly. There was a couple of little struggles at the end, but I'm talking about the psychology of the match, the selling and stuff and everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that one, yeah, Ricochet kind of lost him on that driver thing, and he kind of I know it hurt to land up on your shoulders like that, but I'm not counting that as it was just those things happen. Those things happen.
Forget that. That happens, right? That was the only thing I just wanted to point out. Other than that, the match was perfectly executed. And And Ricochet again getting that heat, dude. I mean, it's astounding to see. Okada was just so over in this match. The fans were just behind him all the way, as they should be. And of course, Okada does get the win via the Rainmaker. And Ricochet sold
Dude,
that
that's
really well too.
For the people that say the Rainmaker's a weak finish, watch Ricochet take it.
He sold that motherfucker perfectly. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. Others should put more effort in selling the Rainmaker because some of them make it look sloppy. You know what I'm saying? And it's not Okada's fault. It's the person taking its fault. You know what I mean?
No, it's just little things. It's just things like that. Just things that just make my heart swell up with pride. Like, like right at the beginning of the match when like he goes, they're like locking up and like tussling and stuff, and he grabs Ricochet's ear and pulls it because he doesn't have any hair. So so Okada grabs the ear. You know, like you don't even see people do that kind of old school stuff that much, which is odd because it's so obvious, but people just, I mean, it's not a cool flip. So they're not doing it, you know. I don't know, and people don't give Ricochet enough credit for his grittiness with his struggle when he's grappling, his selling, his facial expressions and things. Like they don't give him the credit that he deserves sometimes, but he's really, really good. Yeah, I can't say enough good things about this match, but Zane Vicious was telling me to kill somebody. I don't know who he's. Dare.
What, in Japanese?
Yeah.
How much Japanese do you know, Vet?
Kill who? Jimmy? I don't know.
Is that what he said? Hey, and how do you understand that, Vet? Now I'm confused. How much Japanese do you know?
It's classified. My Japanese classified.
No, really, because now I'm starting to be a little impressed. I'm thinking, okay, well, what am I missing here? Does he know a lot more than he's leading out, like that you do? But interesting. Anyway, and Zane, stop using Google Translator, man. That's probably why it's all over the place. Anyways, but yeah, great match. Okada wins via pinfall with the Rainmaker. But post-match, Vet, we see Shane Swerve Strickland coming out to the stage to take a long, meaningful look at Ricochet. He gets on the mic and congratulates Ricochet for getting as far as he did last year. But if memory serves him right, Ricochet said he was going to win the Continental Classic. And him being a man of his word, he said that if Ricochet blew it, which he just did, that he was going to embarrass him. And ever since he stepped foot into AEW, Ricochet's all he's done is run his mouth, talking a lot of mess. And now Swerve has to come out and clean up this mess. And the best way to clean up a mess is... And then Prince Nana brings a wagon full of toilet paper to the stage and wheels it around, handing rolls out to everybody in the front row. Swerve continues saying, we want to help Ricochet, give him a clean slate into next year to forget about 2024.
Clean.
And move on to, clean slate, literally. And move on to 2025 on the count of 3. Ricochet gets absolutely toilet papered.
Yeah, this was funny, and again, Ricochet selling. He just stands there while people throw toilet paper at him, and he just stands there. And instead of doing like the cartoonish get angry, like I'm sure Vince McMahon probably would have told him take a bump, like just all this, all this bullshit. But he just. While all the rolls of toilet paper are flying in, he just stands exactly stock still with that look on his face like, you mother... Yeah.
I felt bad for him. That's
pretty good. I mean. Pretty good. Don't feel bad. He loved it.
I know.
He loved every second of that.
Me, I know this is all...
I don't trust you, Jimmy. I don't trust you.
Come on, man. Do you think I really believe it? But I do feel bad. But that's a good thing. That I feel that way because, you know what? Not only do I feel bad, but he's meant to be hated. The only thing for Ricochet, they got to be careful, man. This toilet paper thing is going to become a real thing, man. And I just hope even when he goes back to being a babyface, they kind of stop doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the only thing I'm worried about when it comes to that.
Yeah, they'll just start ejecting people who throw unsanctioned toilet paper, and then they'll stop.
Oh boy, you're probably right. But next, we see Renee Paquette interviewing a bloody Will Ospreay as he gets cleaned up. He asks if there's something on his face and says, it doesn't matter. But by the time he gets out there against Okada, he's going to need the fans to carry him through this and tell him he can do it because he's about 2 for 8 against Okada. He's got to overcome his mentor and his big brother. In the immortal words of Tony Khan, let's fucking go, lads. He really said that. In the immortal words of Tony Khan, Vet. Let's fucking go.
Yeah. Well, Tony Khan said that too.
I know.
Of course, he said it. He said it was CM Punk, but let's not bring that up either.
I don't know who you're talking about. But yeah, so he says that. You know what else disturbed me? You can see the cuts clearly again, right, on his forehead. But he starts punching himself, like, on the cuts, and he makes himself bleed again. And I'm just like, don't do that, dude. Stop doing shit like that. But he did. And cool, I guess, whatever. Next, though, we see a Women's World Championship match in a Tijuana street fight, no less, between Mariah May, your champion, versus Thunder Rosa with her dad at ringside. Her dad looks like, man, like a typical small sort of, cowboy hat wearing. He looks like El Chapo a little bit, though. It's funny. He's got the mustache. But he was loving every second of it, dude. I'm not going to lie. He looked like he was happy. There was piñatas in this match, Vet. And guess what the piñatas had in them? It wasn't chocolates.
Thumbtacks?
Thumbtacks. We had piñatas of thumbtacks. Everyone was oohing and ahhing. You would have thought Mariah May was going to go through it, but no, she didn't. It was actually Thunder Rosa taking the bump. She had thumbtacks all over her butt, her back, her arms. It was everywhere. I mean,
let me ask you one question, Jimmy. Was there a kendo stick in this match?
Come on, what do you think?
I just ask because then I feel I feel even less guilty about not watching it because I would have disavowed it anyway, right? So it actually doesn't matter that I skipped this one.
No. Look, it was fun. It was a fun match, but there was kendo sticks, there was tables, there was chairs, there was even walking canes.
Ladders?
No ladders.
Okay.
No ladders. Everything pretty much but ladders. But like I said, there was a walking stick as well, which was Thunder Rosa's dad's walking stick who was in the front row, no less. Mm-hmm. What I loved, Mariah May tried to scare the old man by going like this, trying to make him flinch. The old man didn't even flinch for a second, dude. He was just like, just looked like, no emotion, but it was funny. But yeah, Thunder Rosa does not win, though, the match. Surprise, surprise, because Mariah May wins via pinfall with a Storm Zero off the apron through a table, Vet, retaining her AEW Women's World Championship.
Ouch.
Crazy. It looked ouch. It was a crazy.
They should have put a thumbtack pinata under the table, too, just to give it the final, ultimate, no way she's kicking out of it.
No chance. And the professor hit the nail on the head, and we've said this plenty of times right here on this very show. Every pay-per-view Mercedes matches take priority over AEW Women's title. It's true, and I hate it because it makes Mariah May's championship look second rate. It really does. Doesn't the TBS championship feel way more important to you, Vet, than the AEW Women's Championship does right now?
Didn't it always?
Well, not until
when Jade Cargill was on that long streak, didn't that seem like more interesting than whatever I don't even remember who the women's champions were at that time.
That's a good point. Actually, there was a whole bunch of them during that point, to be fair. There actually was. Yes and no, though. There were times where, like, when Toni Storm was champion, I felt like it became the priority again for a short while. There was a couple of other times, but yeah, I guess you're right. But there was a point where Cargill wasn't losing that thing ever. So you kind of felt about that TBS championship, even though it feels that same way with Money, but it's a presence that kind of makes it,
Yeah, and that's my point is kind of like, does it really matter? Because people complain all the time. They complain when there's too many belts. They complain whether the belts mean or whether the belts have value. They complain, when someone's getting a push and someone's not. But like, this has always kind of happened. It's the Rob Van Dam ECW TV title thing. Like,
True. At one point,
were people complaining? Were people complaining that he was taking more priority over the ECW title, or were they like, "Wow, Rob Van Dam's so good, he's elevating the TV title"? Whatever, who cares? Get a life. What's next?
Well, when you put it that way, geez, I mean, you're right. See, I hate saying that too, that you're right, but it's true. I mean, when you put it that way, there's no arguing. And you mentioned Rob Van Dam at the time. He did have both. No, he never had both. He never won the ECW championship, actually, the actual ECW championship while in ECW. But he at one point that TV title was more over than the world championship for sure.
Yeah, he closed shows with that.
No, you're right. It's true. I remember those days. Like, no, you're right. There's no arguing that. There really isn't. But WWE will never kind of do that, I think. New Japan have, with their IC title at the time, over the World Championship. If you remember with Naito and that dilemma.
Right. The fans voted on that, which is strange.
Exactly.
But, yeah, look, but you said it earlier. It's the fact that, Mercedes is a star here.
Right.
Mariah May she's doing fine, but.
Right. It's true, man. It's true. And that's where it makes two women's championships a little dangerous, in my opinion.
Right.
For this exact reason, but.
Right. And WWE's about to have 4 women's championships. So now what?
That's crazy. That's yeah, no, you're right. It's crazy, man. I don't think they even need to do that, but that's them, whatever the case. Everyone complains no more championships, but we keep getting more championships, so it is what it is. Anyway, next we have another matchup, and this time it's for your AEW Dynamite Diamond Ring, I guess, not championship. It is Adam Cole versus MJF. Again, Vet,
what's the finish?
Yeah, look, let me put it this way. Exactly how you think this match was going to go is exactly how this match went. MJF was basically getting all the heat, telling everyone to get fucked, literally. Telling everyone the F word. Adam Cole does end up losing, but funny enough, MJF did take a page out of Eddie Guerrero's book, by pretending to get hit by gloves and hat, basically, because but they didn't touch him. They were just there to make sure that MJF didn't use the diamond ring to hit Adam Cole with it. But anyway, the ref throws him out, even though they were innocent. That's where he goes and gets the ring, and this is towards the end. But he misses. Adam Cole then gets the ring, but MJF is smarter than that. He does a low blow. He takes him out basically and beats him anyway via, what's it called? Via the low blow, the Heat Seeker, actually. He does
the
after
Heat
that.
Seeker, okay.
He ends up doing the Heat Seeker and then retaining, which is a great move, by the way.
I like that Heat Seeker move. That kid Max has a good move.
Bro.
He's got a good move there. Got a good move there, Jimmy Dare, for the wreckage.
For that wreckage.
Yeah.
And he does retain the diamond.
Yes.
Good.
I'm glad that championship was retained. Let me ask you something.
Yes.
Because I didn't watch this, so let me ask you. The crowd in the matches I watched seemed pretty hot.
Yeah, they were hot. Yeah.
Did MJF turn him? Did he get the crowd to cheer for Adam Cole like he should have? Because that was his job in this. His job was not to be the cool guy. His job is to help rehabilitate Adam Cole. In your mind, based on the audience reaction, was he able to do that? Or did he even try to do that? And you, chat, can play along too if you feel like you have an opinion on that, because I'm completely blind on it. I didn't have time. I couldn't have watched this match if I wanted to.
In my opinion, no, because you know who did do that for him? If anything, it was all his buddies like Roderick Strong, Kyle O'Reilly, and Hat and Gloves all getting together and hugging each other at the end. Everybody cheered that. So to me, it was that moment that got Adam Cole over. MJF did not get Adam Cole over in any sort of way, in my opinion, at all.
Okay. Well, Mike Martin says Cole, in my opinion, is too far gone. I agree with that. I'm just saying, like, sometimes you still got to try. I didn't think he would be able to do it, but I was just wondering. And then This Ain't Texas. Orlando was done with this angle and played along with MJF. Gru says, nope, MJF was just going through the motions. Okay.
It's true. Everyone's right.
I guess MJF's done with it. That's fine.
So James says, no tan, no physique equals no over.
Well, he does have a tan, but it's the weird bottle tan. And I don't know why he's using the yellow color. He should be using a tan color.
To be fair, I think he stopped using it, man, because he looked normal this time. But no tan, just normal.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Just white. That's what I noticed. But yeah, post-match,
yeah,
Freeman calls for his music to be cut so everybody can hear him breaking Cole's leg. He wraps a chair around it like everyone else does, Vet. And then we see Roderick Strong making the save. MJF runs off to the stage and Cole O'Reilly then comes out. Max begs off, but Cole throws him into the ring. Freeman begging, but KOR and Roddy land a total elimination on him. O'Reilly helps Adam up and hugs him, and he and Strong pick MJF up for a loaded punch with the ring from Cole as the three babyfaces hug, supposedly babyfaces, as the Kingdom returns to the ring so they can all stand together. And that's what friggin' got the pop.
So it's a 5-on-1 beatdown on MJF and
yeah, that's what the
everybody and they're the baby. Got it. Okay, that's fine.
Yep, that's what happened. So cool, I guess. Anyway, next it is Konsuke Takeshita, your champion, which is a AEW International Championship matchup versus Powerhouse Hobbs, and the crowd were chanting meat throughout this whole match. The fans were into it, surprisingly. It went back and forth, a bunch of knee falls again, typical sort of AEW match. There was a bit of selling of the leg from Hobbs, I guess, but it doesn't matter because in the end, Takeshita wins via pinfall with a Raging Fire retaining his AEW International Championship. Where do we go with Hobbs at this point, Vet? I have no idea, but he's going to get lost in the shuffle once again, in my opinion. I don't know what they do with him now. He's just a loser, dude.
Yeah, I'm sorry to say this. Through no fault of his own, Hobbs is cooked.
Yeah.
Well, that promo didn't help, but that had nothing to do with this.
I know, but it just sucks because he's so much better than that, dude.
I know, but I'm just, I don't know.
Sir Jam claims that maybe he got hurt again. I doubt it. For me, I think he was selling because he's going to lose. He's the big guy, you know what I mean? But whatever, it is what it is. But next, we see Renee Paquette interviewing Kazuchika Okada backstage. Okada says Will Ospreay is like his little brother, but he's not on his level, bitch.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what I forgot to mention, too? You know what was funny about Okada and Shelton, just quickly? At the end, after they shook hands, he's doing this.
Yeah.
That made me laugh.
Yeah.
He's a character, man.
He's the best.
But anyway, I just had to point that out because I just thought about it. But anyway, next, it is your AEW TBS Championship match, and it is between Statlander and Mercedes Moné once again.
I tried to watch this, but I couldn't finish it.
Dude, it went way too fucking long, first of all. Okay.
Yeah.
This was long, dude. It dragged. It dragged and dragged. But anyway, Mercedes Moné, of course, wins once again with a crucifix pin to retain her AEW TBS Championship. And she was all emotional. The fans were right behind Moné in this match. I don't know. Everyone's being fickle with her. You know, most weeks the crowd are booing the shit out of her. But I noticed on pay-per-views, everyone is cheering her CEO and all this shit. And then even her, she wins the match and then she's playing up like a babyface, crying and emotional. And it's like, I don't like that, man. If you're going to be one way, be one way. Don't freaking jump around. But that's just me.
No, I mean, a heel would still do that. that overly emotional, like, because she's trying to play into a heel, but now it's not working because the people they're not letting her. But that's not her fault. If she was being crying and emotional like a baby face, and the people were raining booze down on her, then it would be great. But because your other option is to choose for Fatlander, why would like, what is there to cheer for Chris Statlander?
You're right, man.
It's just a fat, unathletic Rhea Ripley.
Oof. Hey, she was calling herself mommy at one stage.
Yes, get out of here. She doesn't even do the sign language anymore.
Dude, she's not even an alien anymore, dude.
She's nothing anymore. She's just a basic white woman.
The professor says this was the longest women's match in AEW women's history. It was.
I don't doubt
long,
it,
man.
I don't doubt it.
It was long,
and it probably felt longer than that. But I don't know what I don't know. Look, I didn't watch, like I said, so I don't know. What I saw did not impress me, but that's just because, it's a struggle. The last time we talked about these two having a match, I was explaining how it must be a chore for Mercedes to have to move that thing around.
To move that thing around. I mean, she did a great job, I'll give her that. But again, I felt like the time of this match and how long it took away from it for me to enjoy it. But no, it doesn't matter. That's not the point. The point is Mercedes does retain her TBS championship. And at this point, I don't see anyone beating her for that title anytime soon. But whatever. It is what it is. But next, we get the match I'm sure you did watch. And it is your AEW Continental Classic Finals matchup between Kazuchika Okada and William Ospreay. And now I just want to say this match proves, and I know we've said this on a million times, that Okada is truly the best professional wrestler in the fucking world. And I don't mean that total package. I'm talking about when it comes to the in-ring, he's just unbeatable for me, man. But please, tell us what you thought about this match.
Well, and I would say the total package as well, because I include everything that a professional wrestler needs to be inside and outside of the ring, and as a professional, like as a person, like what are your, how well are you upholding your own gimmick and lifestyle? He's never not that guy. So
he's really
he's an absolute role model in every aspect. So, but yeah, and it also, to me, what it proved is that Ospreay has no Ricochet either, because even in this match, look, so let me tell you, I understand. I want to preface this by saying I understand, right? That you want he wanted the visual of the previous match where he got all that color.
Right.
For him to come out there like that, right?
That's right. Absolutely.
But you look like a fucking moron if you didn't even wash your face. Like you had all those matches that you could have like cleaned yourself off. Like, if in real life, if your head was bleeding, right, you would get that taken care of and you'd be in the bathroom looking at it like, how bad is it? Because you can't see when you're out there. So you go and you find a mirror and you're like, oh God, that's bad. All right, I got to get this bandaged up. But while you're in the bathroom, you might want to run the sink and maybe like wash the blood out of your face, right? And you could leave some of it in your hair. And so people saying, but we need him to see that he's still hurt from the. First of all, everybody in the building saw it and everybody watching saw it. So they already know. Second of all, in the match, Okada takes the bandages off so that he'll bleed more. Right? Which was another genius move, because he's milking Ospreay's damage. Like he's letting Ospreay sell not only the match that he's just getting his ass kicked, but also the previous match where he got his ass kicked and just ended up winning, right? So Okada's giving him all that time to sell and let the audience look at him bleed, right?
Absolutely.
And he probably had to tell Will Ospreay, like, just chill out. Because I bet Will Ospreay wanted to get up and do another move. But
Sure.
yeah, so like that psychology, that level of psychology, like he just does not, Will Ospreay just does not get it. Like a lot of the time. And I'll give you another instance. You remember the spot when he goes up on the top turnbuckle and Okada goes to drop kick him off. Well, Will hooks his leg in the turnbuckle so that when he falls, it looks like he twerks his knee, right? And then he falls off the apron. He unhooks himself and falls off the apron to sell it. Somebody might have thought that was an accident. I think it was a planned spot, but it looked good. It looked incredibly good. It looked painful. And he goes down and he's on the floor, and Okada goes out after him, picks him up and gives him the knee breaker on the floor right there. Right?
And that should prove that was a work spot, man.
Right. What does Will Ospreay do? Like 30 seconds later, he's trying to do a springboard off the barricade so he can hit his Os cutter off the barricade. What did you do the leg spot for then? Why didn't you just go for the Os? Why didn't you go for the Os cutter and fall off and sell more? You know, like he's a fucking idiot. I'm sorry. He's a great athlete who's a fucking idiot. And he'll tell you he's an idiot, but he'll also go out and prove it. So, despite all that, again, Okada delivers another classic match. I like the Ricochet one better, but this was good. It was even great, you might say. And you could thank one guy for that. He does end up winning. He is still the best. And the reason that you go with Okada in this, and the reason that he is a Continental Champion, and the reason the Continental Championship exists in the first place, really, this whole championship exists only because of him, because it allows him as the Continental Champion to have the kind of matches that he wants to have. 20-minute time limit, no interference. Those are the kind of matches that Okada likes to have. He doesn't want all this goofy bullshit. He just wants to have a wrestling match. So this title gives him an excuse why he has to have those type of matches. And then he can always go to a draw, you know, so that if he wants to not beat a guy to keep them at least somewhat over, then he can always do a draw and whatever. But, you know, that's the real reason why he wins, so that he can keep this up. Also, if anybody ever beats him for this belt, it will really mean something. So it's a twofold approach to booking this guy. Even though, you know, in any sane person's mind, he should be at the top of any company with their top belt. But
100%, but he's putting that belt over. He really is. Yeah. It feels important, dude. And what happens, you know, after is going to make it feel even more important. But the professor also says this is why Ospreay didn't win match of the year in Perspective Awards. And yeah, I mean, this has always been Ospreay's problem, guys. I mean, everyone's told him that. He even knows that self-consciously. He knows that he shouldn't do certain things. But I don't know if he doesn't listen or he gets in that sort of mode where he just doesn't care. He just has to do it, whatever. Just learn how to sell, buddy. Just a little bit, man. You know what I mean? Come on. Sell a little bit.
He knows how to do it. He just doesn't know how to keep doing it.
Right. And yeah, it's weird, man. But post-match, though, Vet, we see Christopher Daniels comes out to the stage and says he'd love to present Okada his title, but he can't because as of today, he's not an EVP of All Elite Wrestling anymore, apparently. But this man is, and it's Kenny Omega's back. He walks to the ring and presents Okada with the belt and gives him a hand. Obviously, they're setting up for something in the future between these two again. I'm all for it because if you remember their previous matches, this is what broke the Meltzer friggin' star system. And I'm sure it's going to break it again when they do have their match. But anyway, this was dumb. I didn't even think Christopher Daniels should have even said that. Shouldn't have even brought it up. Why did he even bother?
I don't understand Christopher Daniels at all. But here's what else. You remember the last time that we saw these guys was Okada and everybody else kicking the bejesus out of Kenny because Yeah, after he already said he had diverticulitis, and then the Elite all got heat on Kenny because everybody knew he had diverticulitis.
Exactly.
So after that, after everybody puts you in the hospital, you come out and hand the belt to this guy, and that's all you do. Kenny Omega looked weirdly uncomfortable the entire time, which I don't know why he was doing that. Yeah, I don't know why he was doing that, and I don't get this whole any of this, but whatever. There he was. I'm sure most people were just happy he was there. You had the photo op of them standing in the ring together, whatever, but I'm not saying he should have charged the ring and started punching him. I'm just saying, like, there wasn't even that sort of like that air of like, I don't think I forgot what the fuck you did to me. Right. I'm coming back. Like, there was none of that. He just looked like he looked like he had just got woken up from a nap and pushed out there. Like, I don't get Kenny's like sort of acting or whatever he was doing there, but
maybe he was uncomfortable legitly because he didn't agree with the way it was presented. I mean, honestly, because it was dumb, like you just said. All that bullshit was all bullshit. It was all for nothing. And this is the problem with AEW, and always has been. Why can't they stick to things, dude? Why can't they just reset every friggin' time? Like, and I don't understand why. Like, just stick to it, man.
I don't know.
Well, Kenny's back. I don't know what this means. Coming to, like, Fight for the Fallen and Dynamite this week. But nevertheless, he seems to be cleared. We'll see what happens there. That leads us to the main event, Vet. It's Hangman Adam Page versus Switchblade Jay White versus Jon Moxley versus Orange Cassidy for your AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Moxley is
skipper.
I swear to God, bro.
I want to watch Jay, but I already know what this is about to be.
I didn't like this match, dude. I hated it, man. Of course, I wanted Jay White to win. We know that wasn't going to happen. None of these guys really had a chance because, Moxley does retain with the Death Rider on Jay White retaining his AEW World Championship. But it gets even better for you, Vet, because after the match, the Death Riders grab a chair to do something evil to somebody or another. But FTR here, the lights then go out, and what do we see? Rated FTR graphic goes up, Vet. Yes, I said rated FTR, not rated
Once
R.
again, Edge comes out, and someone's about to be killed, but he comes out and does his whole entrance with music. Hoping that, I guess, crossing his fingers like, please don't kill him while I do my entrance. Because I know you could just kill him. I know you guys have been known to kill people in the past or attempt to. So please don't kill him while I do my spot.
Dude. Man. And it took away from the match. I didn't like it. Sure, like, there was a whole bunch of shit that happened in this match. I don't even know where. Like, I don't even
nowhere. Don't say anything. Let's talk about this fucking guy again. This idiot that broke his leg jumping off a cage like a fucking moron comes back and he still has that. What the fuck is that haircut? What is that haircut that he has? Are you fucking shitting me? You're a professional on television and you have that haircut?
I don't know what to tell you, dude.
What is Edge, 50?
Yeah, I think
he looks 70.
Jeez. Yeah, no, I don't care. I couldn't care less about him anymore, dude. I'm done with him, really. He should just I don't know. Dude.
Even you know it must be bad. Even Zane Vicious didn't like it. Zane hated that haircut. You kidding me, bro?
Broke my heart. Yeah, no, he thinks he's 25 again, dude.
I just
51. Liz says, by the way, he's 50 fucking one, bro. 51.
Oh my god.
Cold Blooded says, entrance music causing muscle paralysis confirmed. That's a good one, Cold.
I need a whole. I need to get I need to get an express. Someone needs to pick me up in a G6 and take me to Mindy's right now.
A Ford G6?
A G6 airplane.
Oh, okay, because there's a Ford G6 also. That's what's funny. So James says the best Phoenix special on the old man.
Bro, she couldn't have cut his hair any worse if she had no arms.
Cold Blooded says we broke vet. And Liz also says, and Christian is 51 too. They're legit a month apart. Wow.
Fuck. Oh God.
His hair has the
but Christian doesn't have like that mullet, that weird duck. Right. You know, like Howard the Duck mullet fucking thing.
I know, it's sad, dude. It's sad. But he's back. And you know what's even sadder though? Do I dare say he's going to be the one that dethrones Moxley for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship? And if so, wow.
Yeah, sure.
Holy shit.
it's fitting that Tony Schiavone works there because that'll put butts in seats.
Yeah.
I want to look directly in the camera and make this very clear. I do not like Adam Copeland. I don't. I am mad that you're on television with money and I'm sitting here.
Do you think he's selfish? I know the story you've told me in the past too, by the way, which makes me hate him even more.
I guess selfish is one way to put it. I mean, that's a good all-encompassing word for the situation. But it's always like, it's weird. It's like under the guise of like philanthropy, like, oh, I want to come back and work with these guys. Like,
bullshit.
Even if that's true, you still make everybody look dumb by what you're doing. Like what I'm saying, like he debuted when they were about to, like Christian was about to murder Sting in the ring with a concerto. Poor old video. Sting. Yeah, and he played a whole fucking movie and did a full entrance with pyro. So what if Christian just went home right as soon as the match was over? What if he just what is Edge not going to debut? Fucking idiot. And then you're all idiots for letting him do it. And then he jumps off the cage like a fucking idiot. Nobody gives a shit about you and you're having this cage match nobody's watching and then you jump off like anybody wanted to see that against Aleister Black, who ain't shit in that company. So you waste every little bit of that and all these years of your life, but that's fine because you're still getting paid. You got guaranteed money. You don't need a leg. You don't even need two legs. You could have had two broke legs sitting at home getting paid millions of dollars. Then you make your return again with music to come out here and do this, and then you get on the mic. And what did he say?
What did he say? Well, let's see what he said, because after that, Copeland calls Moxley out and calls him a kid. Can you believe that? A kid. Because he was growing pubes when he started doing this shit. And he says Rated FTR are taking Death Riders out. And that's that. Can you believe that? And also, like the Bone Collector says, don't forget the big pyro too. He did get that. It's true, yeah. Bone Collector. On this day, he sees clearly. But does AEW see clearly? I'm not sure. And I know I'm getting heat for saying, in the chat, for saying that Adam Copeland will be the one that dethrones Moxley. I hope he doesn't. But what's the bet that they might go that way? Because the thing about Edge, he comes across as a very political dude, like a real political player. If he wants what he wants, he practically gets it, and that's what worries me, man. You know what I'm saying? So he must play the game pretty well when it comes to Tony Khan, because if they do go that way, Tony's just lost. He should be putting his guys over, if anything. You know what I mean? Build your AEW originals up, man.
I don't know. I'm not quite 51. I'm getting there.
I'm not there yet.
Maybe I don't remember. Did this guy already win the TNT championship?
Oh, yeah, he did. I think he did. Didn't he beat Christian for it?
I want to say yes.
I'm pretty sure he did. I'll double check. I don't remember 100%. But let me just see, because I remember, but it wasn't long. I don't think it was a long reign or anything like that. But I'm checking right now. I'm just waiting for it to load up. Let's see.
Well, we're getting some yips.
So people are saying yes in the chat while I'm looking this up.
Jerome Bruce Zane says
I'm
he
sure,
botched the
I'm
spot.
Sure. He did? Yeah, he did. He did win it. He fucking won it. Can you believe that crap? And he's probably going to win the world. He will be world champion, dude. There's no ifs or buts about it. I don't know if it's now or in the future, but he did have. Oh, guess what, Vet? He's had a 2-time run as TNT champion. 2 times. I don't remember his second.
Well, he's not that political. He doesn't want to go right after the big belt right away, you know.
Of course not.
The big belts are for the AEW type people. Well, I guess Moxley also ex WWE, but
at least he's been there from the start, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'll give him that at the very least. Edge has just come in and taken over practically, and then he fucked his leg up. You know, he was main eventing like the last time he was in AEW. Here he is absolutely ruining the main event right now in AEW. And I've just got a bad feeling about it. But boy, if there's anything that I hope I'm wrong about, it's this. And I don't want to hate Edge, but it makes me think to the point, remember him and Ricky Starks and that little friggin' trade-off they had where he called him a vanilla midget, and I can't remember what Ricky Starks said.
He called him a The Rock wannabe or something, whatever he said.
Yeah, that shit too. And he got upset, and it's like, fuck off, Edge. Like, seriously, like, get a grip, man. But anyway, that was the World's End, and by the looks of it, AEW is going to end if they're not careful. I'm sure they won't, but this is wrong. If that's where they're going in the future, I don't like it. And, you know, they're pushing all these WWE guys. That's what we're getting. We're getting WWE in AEW. I don't know what to say anymore other than that, dude. But if I had to give this show a grade, I'd give it a C+. And that's only because, you know, like I said, Okada stole the show for me. Not that he stole it, because he used the show in many ways.
Right.
But no, really, like he's the only real positive I see right now. I'm happy for Kenny to be back. He is an overrated superstar, ironically, Sir Jam. Not rated R, but overrated R. I can understand why Triple H didn't have a thing for him, apparently, over the years. And then what you told me just sums up his attitude. And that's that. So Adam Copeland for AEW, 51 years old, with a stupid haircut and possibly another championship to his name. And that's the World's End pay-per-view.
Yeah, to borrow something from Okada for Mr. Copeland.
Please say it. Bitch. I hope one day he does say that. I'm not going to lie. But you know what, Vet? We've done 2 hours.
Yeah, we didn't. I think we lost our Speed co-championship to. Oh wait, nobody else does a good AEW review show, so I guess we are still the champions anyway.
Okay, considering it was a pay-per-view, dude, I think we've still done a good time. We still spoke 3 shows. But yeah, man. Luckily you didn't watch it all, because then we probably would have done another 40 minutes possibly. And I'm trying to run
even after listening to your breakdowns, I don't know what I could have added to the matches I didn't watch if I had watched them. I probably wouldn't have had nothing to say anyway.
And I was trying to go through it quick. I was just pointing out certain things. I know I would have missed a few things. But again, I'm not going to go for blow, especially when I'm the only one talking about it. It feels kind of, you know, I just want to get through it. But that was the show, man. It was a C+ for me. Like, I know you can't really give it a grade, but it wasn't that good of a show. If anything, for me, it was probably the weakest show in many ways of AEW.
But yeah, without seeing the whole show or whatever, I don't care. It was Ospreay and Okada and Ricochet and Okada. Okada had 2 matches of the years of any years in one night. So, you know, I got what I came for. Just that Okada Ricochet match is so fucking good. If you don't know why, then I don't know what to tell you. I can't help you. But it's times like watching that where I'm just shaking my head at the end, like, you fucking did it. Every night is an opportunity for him not to be the best wrestler in the world, and he never disappoints. So
never disappoints, absolutely. And yes, the Rock and Roll Express are making a return next week on Collision.
Oh, cool. Still better hair than Edge, but
absolutely. How did those two guys used to get all the girls back in the day, bro?
I don't know. Is the South?
Oh, yeah, true. Good point. So, James says, don't forget the up and starter, Tony Storm. She's going to be good. She's going to be Rookie of the Year. 100%, Jam. 100%. Well, Vet, in saying that, man, tell them what you're doing and what you're up to.
Yeah, add Opinion Haver on all your favorite social media platforms or any other platforms. Check me out on HMG at The Impact Attack with Brandon every Monday night, 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. If you like rants, oh boy, you definitely get more of me there. You can also check out every Wednesday, except for this week. It'll be on Thursday, don't forget. But generally, Wednesdays at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, Big Ray Hernandez and I do the Next Level Wrestling review. And so, again, because of New Year's, we'll be postponing it one day to Thursday. But as long as you go to the Hami Media Group YouTube, click the notification bell after you've subscribed and liked, of course. You click that notification bell, and no matter what day we're on, you'll know about it. And you'll be able to quickly rush to the device of your choice to watch us live and comment along with us like you always do. And we appreciate you so much for all that. If you want some non-HMG related stuff, but somewhat tangentially related to Vet, then you can check out Wrestling with Rip Rogers. After all, I am a Rip Rogers guy. That's every Friday at their concrete time. Maybe not this past Friday, but because of the holidays, but I'm sure they'll be back next Friday with their concrete time of noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, where you can ask Rip any questions you want, type them in the chat, and the answers may surprise you. And then, of course, also on Fridays, a new Stevie Richards show will drop. Stevie Richards, I may be the best in the world at what I do, but Stevie Richards might have the best show in the wrestling podcast / YouTube show space. So you're going to want to check that out every Friday. And there is an audio version, but it doesn't have all the cool whiteboard breakdowns and all the other visual elements that James and Stevie bring to their unique approach to covering the world of professional wrestling, which I love. It includes a little mix of topical things and deep dives and, like I said, analysis. So it's a great grab bag of content in one place. So I can't recommend that enough. Jimmy, that's all I got.
That was perfectly put, man. I like it a lot. For me, well, of course, I like a Raw every Tuesday mornings with myself and Big Ray Hernandez, where we talk all things Monday Night Raw, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central, every Tuesday morning, so look out for that. The Smack Attack, it's a whole new era, Vet. I don't know if you know this. But
yeah, I saw that was John Enright's last show, huh?
Yes, John is done with Smack Attack. It feels kind of weird that he will be gone. It was kind of sad, too. I'm not going to lie. Everyone was kind of sad, even in the chat. And so it's going to be a new era, a new Smack Attack. It's going to have a fresh feel. I still don't know who the co-host will be just yet, but I'm working on it. Plus, it's hard, man. We all do a lot of shows as it is. Everyone does their thing. So we'll see. I asked the chat who you guys prefer. It was kind of in the middle. You guys are giving me all sorts of different names. So we'll see what happens there. But, yeah, look out for the Smack Attack this week.
My advice, Jimmy, live on the air, take as much time as you need. I think if it takes a week, two, whatever, to get it right, then the Smack Attack can wait until it's time for a good re-debut. So don't rush anything and think it through, man.
Thank you, man, because, I don't want to rush it, but I feel bad for our audience who always expect the show. And believe me, when we're not on, I get told about it, man. Where are you? What's going on? So, just hang tight.
Well, I think we will all be understanding at this point in time because of the situation. So
for sure. So yeah, man, look out for the all new Smack Attack, and of course the Wreckage every mornings on a Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern, and that's that. So in saying that, Merry Christmas once again, Happy New Year, because this is the final episode of 2024 for the Wreckage. We'll see you in the new year next. So in saying that, I am Jimmy T. That is my co-host, the vet, Jamie Williams, and Happy New Year to everybody. Until then, peace out.
Be safe, everyone. Always Absolutely. Be safe.
No doubt.
This week and next week, your Next Level Wrestling Review with Big Ray and the Vet will be live Thursday, December 26, 2024 and January 2nd, 2025 on all Hameen Media Group streaming channels. Join us.